Everyone seems to be giving advice on what to plant in your garden this month, but no one seems to be talking about drought conditions, or when the cost of water is so high you can't afford to water the plants they're describing. Water is something we take for granted because we can simply turn on the tap. But what happens when water levels are so low that there are restrictions on how much you can use? Once restrictions are in place, rising prices soon follow. If you think it can't happen, think again, because right now, half of the United States is going through near drought conditions, and we're not even close to summer. In fact, my area has experienced a drop in water pressure during peak hours, which lets you know it is a growing concern. So let me walk you through all the things I've learned to get water cheaply to your garden. First off, a drought doesn't mean no rain, but that there is not enough to make up for the lack of rain during a particular period. Collecting the rainwater that does fall is one of the easiest ways to set up your own water supply, because 1 inch of rain can create 600 gallons of water. So, your first question should be, how do I collect rainwater? A new caged IBC tank can cost anywhere from $275 to $400 and will hold between 250 to 300 gallons of water. The price can be lower if it's used or rebottled. It's the most straightforward in terms of setup, because you buy it and simply fill it with water. You just need a truck to pick it up and the space to store it. On the other hand, 4 food-grade barrels cost about $15 each, or $60 total. Add in the bulkheads to connect them for a total of around $130 for 200 gallons of water. And I used a large bulkhead, so the cost could be less. The second advantage of barrels is that you can adjust the size of your setup to fit your needs. For example, I put in 2 barrels at a second location to collect 100 barrels of water for $52. So, the cost difference between an IBC and rain barrels can be significant. I found my barrels on Facebook Marketplace at a location near me and was able to move them in my hatchback. So now you have your food grade barrels. Next comes the setup. Keep in mind, the higher your barrels sit, the greater your water pressure. I chose to set my barrels on 1 level of cinder blocks. You can go higher for more pressure, but I decided to keep it simple. With that decision made, you then need to decide how you want to connect the barrels. If you connect them from the top, the barrels will fill one after another and will require a faucet for each barrel to get the water out. If you connect them from the bottom, all the barrels will fill at the same level and will require only 1 faucet to get water, as each barrel will drain into the next. I chose the bottom method because I only wanted to use 1 faucet. Using a small bulkhead allows you to unscrew one of the tops on the barrels, then cut a hole in the side and fish the bulkhead through to connect the barrels. You just move less water when filling. I used a large bulkhead that wouldn't fit through the top, so I cut the tops off and then taped them back together. I've used the barrels for over a year and have never had a problem. Once you have all your barrels connected, then comes setting up the gutter pipe to get water from the roof. I cut off a section of my existing downspout gutter and got what is called an elbow gutter pipe to bend the remaining pipe I cut off over the opening I created in the barrel. I used window screen to cover the opening to keep out leaves and sediment, in addition to mosquitoes. Later, you'll come back and cover the opening to prevent lighting getting in and producing algae. You'll also need an overflow hose because remember I said 1 inch of rainwater produces about 600 gallons of water, and each of your barrels will only hold 55 gallons. So you have to have a way to release that extra water. You will only need 1 overflow hose because all of the barrels will fill to the same level. In addition, I added exhaust caps that screw into the barrel tops because water expands during hot weather. And remember to put a screen over the overflow opening to prevent mosquitoes getting in. So now you have a ready source of water. But how do you get that water to your plants? You can fill a watering can to water by hand, but that is time-consuming. Researching the problem, I stumbled on oil watering pots. It's an ancient clay pot watering system that puts water underground where roots can find the water seeping from the pots. Just make sure the pots are unglazed, which allows the water to seep out. The only downside to oils is that the clay pots have become expensive. So I selected a combination of clay pots and plastic containers with drilled holes that will seep water below ground to saturate the soil. Once the soil has been saturated, I fill the oils every 5 days and use an upside-down method to fill the containers at the same time. I use less water and my plants are watered at the root level. Despite all that you've done, if you still have spots not getting enough water, I got this camping shower that allows you to fill a bucket and water like you would from a hose. The model I found has a long battery life and delivers a good spray without using a pump from your barrels. So there you have it, all that I've learned about watering your garden during drought conditions and not having to break the bank to do it. Oh yes, the day before doing this video, a pipe burst in my neighborhood and we were out of water for 12 hours. Guess who had water to flush the toilets while we waited on the repairs? See you next time.